stars. The lights, they shine. Do you love the arts? Well, you've come on time. We have the music, the stories, the performances, all creatives. But shh. At 11:11 we pause. A moment of inspiration so your soul can glow. Then back to the spotlight. Center stage.
Hello, welcome back to Center Stage. How is everybody?
Hello, everyone. We're so excited because today we have, you know that Brazil is playing tonight, right? But eu sou brasileira para vocês que são brasileiros. Então, but we have two very special ladies, right? Mm-hmm. The first one we have here, not in order of greatness, but I'm just, oh gosh, I'm just going to shut up. Go ahead.
No, we have Don Vasquez. Welcome,
Vasquez.
Don. Beautiful author, speaker, a lot of talent in this room.
And for those of you, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure the audience knows, for those women who are entrepreneurs at heart or are active in what you do, this is a woman that is wonderful. We're going to talk to her about it. And Dawn, thank you for being here. And can you explain to our viewers, especially those women who need that guidance? So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. Okay, so to answer your question, when you're sitting there at home and you're saying to yourself, this is a season of my life that I'd like to explore, that's where I come in. Because whether you're somebody that's just saying goodbye to the kids that have gone off to college and you feel like now you're ready to make it about you, we start where you're at. It's never about, do I have enough lived experience behind me in an industry, or like I get a lot of times women that say to me, but Dawn, do you think I can really do it? The industry is saturated. I always say there is always space. There is always a season, because you are the unique person that's going to add to that. So don't see it as, oh my God, I could never be in that space because there's no room for me. See it as, what value can I give based on the lived experience I have behind me? So for example, I worked recently with a mother, and I said to her, okay, but stop using the word, I'm only a mother. Let's change the mindset. You're a domestic engineer. You have made your home what it is today, right, to the point where you can say goodbye to those grown children. Now they'll be independent. They've seen you as a lived experience, as someone that's done that. So to me, it's about breaking down those limiting beliefs and reminding you of what gifts that you've learned in any industry or any season that you've been in, whether it's motherhood or whether it's, I'm now ready to advance my business, and what do I have to do? What does that look like? That's where I come in. I coach. My background is over 13 years in construction development finance on Palm Beach Island, another 7 years doing consulting and construction, so that's almost 20 years in that industry. I have seen it all. And I use that lived experience now.
And there's so much. And where's your book?
It's right here.
Okay.
It's here. From making money to making peace.
And
it's step-by-step
and I
guide
love the
to getting
title,
unstuck.
From making money to making peace.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Can you explain to us about that title?
Actually, I want to thank my cousin for that title, because I wanted to name it Limitless Women Lead. And she goes, Dawn, you're already way too deep. She's like, people are not going to get that. And the reason I wanted that was because I wanted you to understand, like, once you're limitless, you can lead in no matter what avenue of life you're in. And she said, yes, but what you need is a title that really resonates with the everyday woman that's going through it. So the first part of the book is my journey of coming to Florida in my 20s with $700 in my pocket and creating a multi-million-dollar book of business. And what does that look like? And that account was given to me by a woman, not a man, right? Because I went through the 20s of, oh, well, you probably got that because some man gave it to you because of the way you look. No, it was because I was competent in the industry that I was in. So that's what the book talks about. But then I was also diagnosed. I was 39 going on 40, and I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. So then it was, what do I do with all this energy? I didn't want to stop what I was doing, so how do I pivot? So the other part of the book is, what are the steps that I did, because this is 15 years in the making. I'm now going on 6 years in remission since 2020, and the book is a stepping stone for any woman that can pick it up, whether she's sitting on the couch, wanting to stop that doom scrolling through Netflix and says, today is my day, to the woman that says, like me, oh my God, I've been diagnosed with this. Now what does that look like? So step one is, you've got the diagnosis, this is happening,
This is what it is. Let's start from here. So the second part of the book is the blueprint.
And what makes you
the radical
limitless?
acceptance.
Like what is that mindset that is a drive for a lot of women, people in general, to succeed?
So in other words, when I use the word limitless, what I mean is that you have to be willing to do the hard work to kind of almost deconstruct what created the identity that's sitting in this season right now. Because a lot of times, just like when I said about the mother, that's like, well, I don't really know. I have this little idea. She wanted to create bags and a business whereby you would contact her to say, hey, I'd like to have a party for my kids, but I don't want to run over to Party City or the Dollar Tree. I don't know if those are licensed, if I can say those companies. But her thing was, I would love to see, since I enjoy doing it, I want to be the company that somebody calls and says, hey, I'll put all these little bags together. You just call me, you tell me the theme, and I'll create it. And I said, well, that's amazing. And she says, well, I don't even know how to start. And I said, well, where would you think that you would start to let people know that this is what's on your spirit, this is what you want to do? And the first thing she said to me was, well, I've got neighbors. And I said, well, there you go. You're already limiting yourself. She's like, what do you mean? And I said, because an entrepreneur would never say, let me contact my neighbors. A true entrepreneur, just to get her in that mindset, would say, how can I take this idea bigger to the next level?
Right.
And she says to me, well, I'm actually on the board of the PTA. I was like, what? I'm like, why didn't we lead with that?
Right, exactly.
So I said to her, that is where you're going to go first. You're going to say, you know what, principal or whomever is in charge of where you could take that. I said, we're going to sit and we're going to say, this is my idea. Can you help me to see what does that look like? Because a lot of times they're going to give you ideas because they're in that space that your limitless mind isn't even aware of yet, because you're still limited with your way of thinking. So that's what I mean when I take women from that limited mindset and, oh my God, I could never see myself. And a lot of times I do these women on Zoom, they start shrinking and they'll be like, you know, I have this idea, but I don't know if I could do it. I get them by the time they're done with me, I mean, they're walking proud, they're standing tall, and those shoulders are back.
What a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift. And those years that you were not feeling well, you were still working your butt off, right?
Yeah.
So, and was that like an engine for you, because you said, I still have a voice, I want to be limitless?
Well, so I'll tell you how I ended up getting the diagnosis to begin with. Eventually, I got married, and he comes to me and says, I have this beautiful opportunity for us to go to Connecticut. I'd never been to Connecticut. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do this, but I'm not getting a third state license. So he says, well, why don't you do your other love, which was always photography. In another life, I did a little bit of modeling. I knew what it was like to be on both sides of the camera. So I said, you know, I'd love to do that. So I rented some lenses. I spent hours out in the woods with birds trying to, you know, figure out how to do the photography. And I said to him, if I want to do this and make the same kind of money I was doing in finance, I'm not going to do that sitting there taking portraits of families, right? Mm-hmm. What could I possibly charge for that? So he says, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do wedding photography. So I was able to basically amass a little bit of a following while I was up in Connecticut. And for the interest of time, I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. And there was a wedding that I was at. And I was at a castle, and this was in Skytop Lodge was the name of the place. And I'm in somewhere in Pennsylvania. I don't remember exactly what the name of the city was, the town was. And I started to take the photos, and all of a sudden, my hands, when I would take them away from the camera, would stay in that position, like a club. And I'm like, okay, that's strange.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Literally, like in a club position. Like, so you're holding the camera like this. I would go to take my hand off. My hand was still like this, like in a physical club. So I thought to myself, now your brain starts, you know, making up all kinds of narratives. So I said to myself, well, I'm from Florida still. I'm only here like 10 months. Maybe it's just a matter of the fact that my body's not acclimated to the temperatures. So I came up with every excuse under the sun. And then eventually, 6 specialists later, I would learn that I had this illness. So it was literally me just saying to myself, okay, this is not right. Something here is not right. And they kept saying, well, it's probably carpal tunnel. Maybe you're depressed because unfortunately the move did not survive the marriage. You don't take a water baby and put her in front of a mountain. Okay, so that was happening at the same time that I was still, so I'm going through the divorce. I'm still trying to do the photography, and I'm saying to myself, I'm just going to make it back to Florida. Unfortunately, God had other plans and said, you're not going anywhere. So that's how the diagnosis came, and that's when I had to realize, well, if I'm going to do something with this, because I'm now diagnosed, I didn't want people to see me as someone that was sick, so I continued to try to work consulting in construction and still trying to do the photography all at the same time as I'm going through my prognosis and doing all the hospital visits and everything else. Because if not, you have two choices. When you're standing there in a doctor's office and they look at you and they say, you've got 2 to 5, I think you need to go home and get your affairs in order. I remember turning around saying to him, what do I do right now in this moment? And he says to me, well, do you have any kids? And I said, no, unfortunately, God's babysitting her right now. And he says, well, do you have any nieces and nephews? And I said, yes, I do. And he goes, great, take them in the garden and play with them. And my dad looks and says, well, clearly you don't know my daughter. And I went home, and it was funny because I remember walking out of that hospital in Philadelphia feeling numb.
By yourself?
Well, I was with my family. They had come with me. And I was walking out tall buildings in Philadelphia, if you've ever been there. And I just remember feeling numb, looking around, being like, I have just gotten the diagnosis of 2 to 5 years, and nothing stops. Life does not stop. I'm so numb. Of course, my family by this point is bawling. And I'm just thinking to myself, my God, like, life is still just happening. So I said to myself, I have two choices here. I can let this illness get me, which it tried. I was bedridden for over a year. Or I'm going to do everything that I can to go out my way, which is when I decided I would create a team and start going down the rabbit hole of Eastern and Western medicine and all that kind of good stuff. And I took it from there.
Wow.
So, but you have a
Wow.
choice. And the reason I share that is because I met women at Philadelphia Hospital that I kept in contact with their son. One woman that looked just like me because we're scarring from the inside out. My illness is a connective tissue disease that I contracted from a parasite. So everything is happening from the inside out, which is why I don't look sick. I met a woman there. I said to the son, I would love to keep in contact with her. Maybe we can exchange information. And he looks at me and he says, because she was in a wheelchair by this point and she was only 50. And he said, this illness, it's strong. Do everything you can, but make sure you don't wait. My mother waited too long. She allowed the illness to take her over mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I reached out to him. 2 months after, she had already passed. She made it 22 months. So that was a wake-up call to me that, oh my God, this is real.
Wow.
And the journey began for me.
And now you're sitting here.
And now I'm sitting here.
How many years now?
Yes. So my last episode in the hospital was 2020. So I'm 6 years in remission again. But 4 years prior to that, I had had a stroke that we thought might take me then. So it's been a journey. So I'm technically, if I go by, what they say, I'm already a decade past the expiration date. I'll be 55 next week. And I was diagnosed, technically I was 39, but I like to tell people I was diagnosed a month after my 40th birthday because we
Happy
celebrated my
birthday.
birthday.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to go to Philly and get the diagnosis. I said to my mother, I want to celebrate my 40th. I'll get the bad news after.
Yes.
So we did that.
Good.
Wow. So you really empowered yourself. Did you
Yeah.
use non-traditional medicine as you mentioned?
100%, yeah. So it's in the book, Going Down the Rabbit Hole, because I do remember saying to him when we were in the office, you're giving me 15 scripts. I'm literally counting them. And I said, I don't know what these are. And can you give me an idea of what they are? And he said, okay, well, these are for antidepressants. And I'm like, okay, shouldn't I get depressed first? And he said, well, you're going to be. And again, I'm thinking, clearly you don't know me. I used to have to do 30 contracts a month. I know what stress is. But this is what they do because this is all they know. So I don't look at it and say to myself, and here, I'm going to give you a statistic that's actually pretty, it's sad, but it's also to give you agency over how you take care of your health. In 1950, Harvard Medical did a study just to find out 18 months after MDs would graduate, over half of what they learned was obsolete. So then I thought to myself, well, let me revisit this study. 2017, they did another study. It's even worse. So to me, that just lends itself to the fact that I can't rely on the system because the advancements are just too hard for one human being to accumulate and to use and to put into practice as fast as someone with a diagnosis needs it. So you have to say to yourself, I need to be the one responsible for how I go out.
How
Period.
can people get in touch with you to do your counseling work and help them?
I'm all over social. So you can go onto my Instagram, which is at Don Vasquez, my last name, FL, on Instagram. You can look me up on Facebook. You can email me at donsrawphotos.com. People don't seem to have a problem finding me.
No, and you're very
They DM me a lot.
and you're so friendly, and you're so personable.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we can reach out to you, and you
Yeah,
always
thank you.
answer, and I love that about
we
you.
need to get you back on so you can be here for a half an hour because we have just out of time.
Oh my God! It already.
And here's your
Wow.
book, From Making Money to Making Peace. And thank you so much, Dawn,
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
here.
Thank
It's
you for
It's a
allowing
beautiful
this.
book. You can open it up and
Yes.
start
wherever
you open it, right?
Wherever you are.
And one of my
That's it.
favorite parts is this is the story of what happens when life forces you into a new season you didn't choose,
Yeah.
and the power you find when you choose to use. What? Is that a typo?
Choose to use anyway.
Okay, choose to use anyway.
Choose to use.
Oh no!
Anyway.
Choose to rise anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think you just skipped a line. That's okay.
No, power you find when you choose to rise.
Anyway.
Didn't this look like an end?
Either way.
No, because I read this at home, and it's just, I love that all these things that hold us back in life is an opportunity to rise. So, no weapon formed against us shall prosper.
That's it.
Okay.
God bless you, and
And we'll
thank
be right
you.
back
so
after
much.
we pay for this show.
Thank you.
At 11:11 we pause. With a deep breath, close your eyes. Breathe in slowly. Imagine a gentle wave rolling towards the shore. As you exhale, picture the stillness at the crest of the wave. Breathe in the love in your heart. Exhale and release all your love to the extremities. At 11:11, remember peace begins with the breath. Love begins with the heart. And kindness is the gift we can all share. And that center stage, brought to you by Sea Sirens.
Discover the books of Frank A. Ruffalo, an internationally acclaimed author and accomplished screenwriter with IMDb credits. From the gripping Jack Stenhouse series to inspiring faith-based adventures, Frank A. Ruffalo delivers stories that captivate, thrill, and uplift. Whether you crave suspense, action, or a journey of spirit, his books bring unforgettable characters and powerful storytelling to every page. Get your copy today at frankaruffalo.com or amazon.com or AMP Media Studios. Don't just read a book. Experience the world of Frank A. Ruffalo. Get your signed copy today.
This is Smoke Barbecue. We're located in Fort Lauderdale at 3351 Northeast 32nd Street, Fort Lauderdale 33308. Our website is www.eatsmokebbq.com. It's EATSMOKEBBQ.com. You can order online. We also do catering for 10 to 10,000.
If you are looking to bring your family out to an incredible food venue, this is the place. We're at Smoke Barbecue in East Fort Lauderdale. Everything is amazing. You can see their faces on our crew, and the amount of food that they have taken down in about 15 minutes is absolutely unbelievable.
And we're still going. I can't talk, I'm eating.
And everything is coming. So here, let's eat.
Be a right spec.
Welcome back.
Welcome back
Hey,
to
we're
Center
back.
Stage.
Don, that interview was great with Don. And now we have a very special lady, Eve Gray.
Welcome, Eve.
Hi.
Hi,
There she
Eve.
is.
Hi. Yeah, I met you through Diana Rice. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, of course I do.
Okay, well, anyway.
I hope she's doing well.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm busy.
Yes, tell
Very
us
busy
about
these
that.
days. Right now I'm in the process of launching my consulting business, working with staff and corporate. And so I'm very busy getting that business launched. And, also just wrote my first visualization and manifesting book. I don't know if you can see it.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Everything that I do kind of seems to tie in, back to the visualizing and manifesting. So I
Well, let's
thought it
talk
would be
about
good
that.
to write a beginner's guide.
Well, no, let's talk about that because you are a filmmaker, a producer, you are amongst other things. So let's talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Explain to us.
Well, as far as film producing, right now I'm leaning more towards the writing side of things. I'm doing a lot of UGC content creation and doing more off-camera editing work these days. And that tends to keep me very busy, but it's more of a hobby. I'm just kind of a techie geek. I love
But
I
that's so
love
much
AI.
fun.
I'm learning,
Yeah.
trying to teach myself how to do more with AI. I really feel like more people need to embrace this technology that's coming up because it's changing our world as we speak. And as far as film producing, it used to be that I would have to cast a lot of people, which is how you and I met with, through the South Florida actors and the filmmaking stuff that's down there. Now I can hire a bot to do it for half of the cost. So it's a little bit of a no-brainer sometimes, but I still miss working on set. Set's always
Yeah.
fun.
There's a magic to it. But you know what I love about working with AI, because Michelle and I, we're dabbling. You too, right, Frank?
I dabble.
He dabbles a lot.
good.
I see his work. He even has an 80s version of himself online now.
Oh, he's got a lot of versions of himself.
A lot of versions of myself online.
Yeah, he does. But Eve, so tell us, where are you at right now? Where are you reciting?
So I'm in the Detroit area. I moved back home to be closer to my mom because she's in her early 80s, and so led me back here after being in California and Florida and all those. But I'm more or less focusing on the consulting side of going and working with businesses that are doing any type of sales. And I'm actually working on developing an app for salespeople. So when I say I'm busy, I'm not joking.
Now, are you still working in the film industry, entertainment industry?
I still have my hands in the business. I just don't really talk too much about it because a lot of the projects that I work on have confidential contracts in place. So a lot of times I work as consulting with the film industry because one of the things when people get into film is they forget that it is a business and it has to be treated like such if you're going to be successful. A lot of people assume like, oh, I have this movie idea and I'm just going to go pitch a producer and they're going to put up all kinds of millions of dollars to produce it. That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
fat chance.
Yeah, you've got to have the right business mindset in order for you to get closer to that goal as far as having a film made or as far as even being a talent. There's still work that has to be done. Just because you look a certain way doesn't mean that somebody's going to find you, discover you, and put you all over the screen. I will tell you this much: social media has absolutely changed the landscape for actors and talent. You can become a huge success nearly overnight on social media compared to how it used to be done, where you'd have to go to Hollywood, or Florida at one point was very big for film, and New York, of course. But nowadays, you can hop on social media and become a YouTube star overnight.
Yeah, now they even have AI actors.
And you can have AI actors, yeah.
Now, tell us
it's
what
really
would you
profound.
recommend for people in the industry to do right now? Like anybody who's new, if it's if they're behind the scenes or on scene, what do you recommend?
For one thing, I recommend that LinkedIn is your best. That's your bestie. A lot of people don't utilize LinkedIn the way it should be. And that's where you're going to find almost all of those significant players. There's a lot of executive producers, writers, directors that are on that platform. So anybody who's involved in talent or production, whether you're in front of or behind camera, I would highly recommend using that as a tool. Make sure that your LinkedIn shows your videos, your most current film, your headshots you can post on there. You need to make sure that you have a bio that is written with search engine optimization words. So keyword may be looking for.
Ooh.
If you pay the premium for LinkedIn, then you have even more access where you can directly email directors and producers and casting directors and things like that. So I feel that a lot of people are not using it the way it should be used. In addition to that, LinkedIn doesn't have a lot of video content right now. So there's a lot of space that you can play in.
I love it. You're giving us such great ideas, right?
Great ideas. How did you're such a talented person. You have so many talents. How did you start in the industry?
Well, let's go back to the whole visualization and manifesting. While I was still married, and this was many, many years ago, I had started going to the library and I rented every book I could on working in production and understanding the craft of being an actor. That I was journaling a lot at that time of what I wanted to do in the industry. And so then I took an acting workshop, which led me down more paths. I was getting cast for some pretty significant plays in the Detroit area. I was growing my following as far as other actors and producers and directors. And then at one point I decided I was going to go to California and try it out. And so I did that, and then I ended up getting an agent right away. Scenic Central Casting was my agency that I worked with, but I was only doing background talent at the time. I made good money as a background principal actor sometimes. So in that business, if you're on camera, you get what's called a bump, which means that you will get paid more money because you are near the principal actor to where you're going to be in the camera shot. So there's a lot of little tricks of the trade, but then I ended up again treating it like a business. Every time my agent would send me on set somewhere, I would always call her the next day and thank her, tell her how the project went, tell her about my experience, and that really stuck with her. So then she ended up sending me on bigger jobs, which is when I became Taft-Hartley eligible, and then eventually become a SAG actress. But then I worked with Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I was their double and their stunt person.
Wow.
Really?
When they were, when they were 4 daughters the same age.
That's great.
That was a really good experience. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So how can people get a hold of you now to do what you're doing?
Well, they can go to my website, evegrayconsulting.com, or hit me up on social media. I like to still perform, and for me, the whole TikTok scene is a lot of fun. I'm known as the infamous Ms. G on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
What is G for? G is for what?
Grodzinski, which is my legal name. So when people call me asking for Eve Grodzinski, I'm like, why? What'd I do? But my stage name that I'm known for in the business is Eve Gray. So it's still Ms. G.
So do you have any hidden talents or superpowers you'd like to share with us that people don't know about?
I'm a visionary. I think that's a good one to point out for your show.
Yeah.
I have an ability to see way like further into the future. And any projects that I'm working on, I will put it through my mind, but I work backwards, if that makes sense. So like I'll imagine how my life looks after I've succeeded in the project. And so I visualize that and I start manifesting that. But I'm also putting the blueprint together and the bullet list. I'm very much a list person. So I'll write down everything that it takes for me to succeed. And then I just work backwards. Like I start thinking, I would have, connections with people in maybe bigger spaces or people that I would need to connect with in order to be successful. So then I just start figuring out a way to get a hold of those people.
Well, your mom must be very proud.
Yep. And since we're at the end of our time, maybe you can visualize being on our show again.
I would love that, Frank. I wish I could come down to Florida and visit y'all. I haven't seen all my good friends.
Yes.
Well, come back
we
and
would love
see
to
us.
have you in
that.
Florida. Yes.
Welcome anytime.
Florida,
Welcome anytime.
South Florida, or Florida in general is having you come back. So
Yes.
Yes.
I'm hoping
On
so
demand.
because I was very mad at Wayne "The Rock" Johnson some time ago, which I ended up writing him a complaint letter for that whole Baywatch debacle.
Ooh. That sounds like
Remember
another
that?
show. That sounds like another show.
For another show.
we didn't even talk about like productions you've worked on that are big. You have a huge roster. She's worked with a lot of the greats in Hollywood.
So we thank you for being here, and we have to end this lovely, lovely show. This is Center Stage. I do have a new information. I have a new book just came out, Silence is a Witness, and there's going to be a special giveaway that's going to end by the end of August. Go on Amazon, buy that book, supply me proof that you bought it, and you'll be entered in the drawing to win all the other Stenhouse mystery books.
That is wonderful. Congratulations, Frank. Yeah.
Thank you. And
Find us at Center Stage Fam on Instagram and also on YouTube and our Facebook page.
And our Facebook page.
Thank you for watching,
Thank you for
guys. Thank
watching.
you so
Thank you.
much. We love you and always keep centered in life, including Center Stage.
See you next time.
Ciao.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching Center Stage.